Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Call of Duty Warzone video. Now we've made this video because you guys managed to smash 50 likes on our previous video. Now what we're going to do in this video is compare every single gun inside Call of Duty Warzone and let you know which ones you should be putting inside your loadout and which ones are the best guns in the game. Now this would have been an extremely long video if we compared the stats of every single gun in this game, but what we did was we made a tier list and the link for that will be in the description below. We highly recommend you guys also using this tier list to show us your favourite list and actually send it to your favourite creators as well and we can see what they come up with also. So just keep in mind this is my personal preference, and as we go through this list I'll give my opinion on each gun. But before we get into it, 97% of you have not subscribed, so if you want to see more videos like this one or see more in-depth gun comparison guides, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything like that. And if this video gets another 50 likes, we'll make another in-depth video comparing the stats of all the burst assault rifles inside Warzone, but let's get into this video. So here we have our tier list. First I'll explain what each tier means, and then by category, so for example assault rifles, SMGs, we'll then put the guns into each of these tiers. So first we have the meta category. Now this is not just going to be the meta guns, it's going to be some of the best guns in the game in this category. Warzone Victory is going to be for some of the good guns in the game that can definitely help you get a win. Ground loot are going to be guns that if you find them on the ground, definitely try them out. Your KIA means that you're most likely going to die using these guns. And finally, straight to gulag means don't use these guns by no means because you're going to die. First, we're going to take a look at the melee weapon. So first we have the combat knife. Now the combat knife is great for mobility, but you're definitely going to die trying to use this gun. It's not going to help you get any wins. It's very difficult to use and try and win a game with. Similar with the Kali sticks as well, is pretty much the same idea as the combat knife. The only melee weapon that is quite useful is the riot shield. Now the riot shield can be useful because it protects you, especially in the final circle for example. Next we're going to take a look at the launchers. Now everyone knows that the best launcher in this game is the RPG. So the RPG can definitely help you get a Warzone victory by clearing out buildings or destroying vehicles. After that, I think the Joker is probably the second best, and you should only use the Joker as ground loot. What it does is it allows you to clear out enemies off the top of rooftop buildings, especially in a place like downtown. The other two launchers should be going in the Your KIA tier, and that's because they take far too long to lock onto enemy vehicles, and in that time you actually can get killed. Next we have the shotguns. The Model 980 is an okay shotgun. I would only recommend picking it up at the start of a game maybe. Even then there's other guns that are better. We have the VLK, and this is one that you should pick up if it is ground loot. I do recommend that as it's more semi-automatic and easier to use. The Origin, once again, I would use that as ground loot because it is good. It's probably the best shotgun in the game actually. Every other shotgun in this game, I feel like it's terrible and I wouldn't even pick it up if it was ground loot. So all of these should be going into the straight to gulag category. Next we have the sidearms, and most of these sidearms should be going into your KIA category again as well, because once again you're not really going to be able to use them to help you win games, and I feel like they're very difficult to use sidearms, especially against primary weapons. So the X19, once again that's going into your KIA. The Renettis will go as ground loot. The only time I'd recommend using the Renettis if they are the burst fire Renettis, and then they can be useful. The Desert Eagle's nowhere near as good as what it used to be in previous games, so once again, I wouldn't really recommend using it. The 357 should only be used as the snake shot pistols, and once again, the sidearms are only made to use when you're trying to use Ghost as your loadout. And same with the M19. I think the M19 is the best sidearm in the game at the moment because it has a really high rate of fire. And the 1911 once again should go in your KIA. So this is all the sidearms categorized on this list. So if you're going to be using Ghost as your main loadout, the three sidearms you should be using is the Renettis, the 357 and the M19. After this we have the Marksman Rifles. Now I feel like the Marksman Rifle category is very easy to do. The Kar 98 is by far and away the best Marksman Rifle. If you don't like sniper rifles, the Kar 98 is a great gun to use, especially because it has a really fast ADS time. And the SKS is probably the second best, and it will definitely help you get some Warzone victories. It's not as good as the Kar 98, but definitely a good gun as well. The MK2 carbine is a gun I really wanted to like, but the fact that you get a lot of hit markers and this gun doesn't do much damage at range is really annoying sometimes. If you find it as ground loot, definitely try it out there, but I wouldn't recommend putting it in your loadout. The EBR again is another good gun, but once again, it's not something I think could be put in your loadout. And finally, the crossbow is going to send you straight to the gulag, so I feel like this is going to be a useless weapon. The drop off on it is absolutely terrible and it's really difficult to use. And even if it is a ground loot weapon, I wouldn't even pick up the crossbow in my opinion. Next we have the LMGs. Now the LMGs is such an easy category to do as well, because the Bruin is by far and away the best LMG in this game, and also it's one of the best guns in the game. So like I said, the Bruin should go in the meta category, followed by the KPM. I think the KPM is a really good gun, by no means the best LMG, but second is definitely KPM. If you use the right attachments, you can get a win with this gun. The rest of the LMG should definitely be used as ground loot. I don't think they should make it to any of your loadouts. Maybe the Holger is the only other one that I think could be a loadout gun. But other than that, every other LMG in this game should definitely be in the ground loot category, because the recoil patterns are too difficult to control to use at long range. So that's why I wouldn't use LMGs inside Warzone. Now we're getting on to some of the best guns in the game. So we have the sniper rifles, the SMGs, and the assault rifles. First, we'll start with the sniper rifles. We have the AX50 being a really great sniper, and we have the HDR being a really great sniper as well. Now we've got the new sniper rifle, the Rytec AMR, and I think this is definitely going to help you get some victories in the game, but by no means it should be in the meta category. It's definitely a good gun, but nowhere as good as the AX50 and the HDR. And the Dragunov is something I wouldn't even use as a ground loot weapon. I feel like some of the Marksman Rifles are actually better than the Dragunov. Now we're getting into the more fun guns on this list, the SMGs and the assault rifles. So let's start with the Fennec. Now I think the Fennec is a great gun, especially inside Warzone. Clearing out buildings with this gun is great. You need to use the 40 round mags, but other than that, it is a brilliant gun. Also, the MP5 we all know should definitely be in the meta category, as this is actually a meta gun, and this is also followed by the MP7. The MP7 is a fantastic gun at most ranges as well. Now we have the P90. Now I think the P90 is actually a brilliant SMG in this game, and it can definitely help you get some Warzone victories, so I definitely want to put it in that category. It's not as good as the other three in my opinion, but it's definitely a really good gun, and I highly recommend trying it out. The ADS time on this is ridiculous. The Striker 45 should be used as ground loot, and same with the Uzi as well. I don't see these making any loadouts, but once again, if you see them at the start of a game, highly recommend using them at that time. I almost forgot, we have the Bison and the AUG as well. Both of these should go in the ground loot section, because if you find them at the start of a game, they are great. Now we're getting on to the more fun guns, the assault rifles. So starting off with the AK-47, I feel like the AK-47 inside Warzone should only be used as ground loot. The recoil pattern is too hard to control, and it's not that good a gun at longer ranges. The CR56 is a great gun. I think it should be in the meta category because it does well at long range, especially in Warzone. It does a high damage profile as well. The RAM7, once again, should be in the meta list. It's a great assault rifle, a good alternative to the M4. And speaking of the M4 is definitely a meta gun. I actually think this is one of the actual meta guns in the game. Next we have the M13. This is a long range beast. I highly recommend using the M13 as well. It's a really good gun, especially at longer ranges, especially now if you don't like using the Grau. We have the Kilo, and we all know that the Kilo is a great gun. It's a very well balanced, well-rounded gun, and it should be in the meta list also. The Grau 556, of course, it is actually the game's meta, so that's going to make it to the top of the list. The Orden, the Scar, and the FAL all make it to Warzone victory, especially the FAL recently with its new buff. I think it's actually a really good gun, and it can be used to help you win games. I don't think it's going to compete with the other guns in this game, but I think it is a really good option. The Orden in the right hands can be a fantastic gun. It does really high damage, and the Scar, once again, similarly to the Orden, it does high damage and can be used to win games. Finally, the FAMAS is a gun I would not really pick up. The burst on it is really hard to use, and you're most likely going to die using this gun. So that has been our list. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, use the link below to make your list and tweet it at us and send it to your favorite creators as well. That way we can see what everyone's favorite guns are. And if this video gets to 50 likes, we'll release the burst guide where we compare all the burst assault rifles inside this game. But that's all for today's video, and thank you very much for watching.